The Real Housewives of New Jersey stars Melissa Gorga and Teresa Giudice's constant feuding has left their former co-star, Caroline Manzo, with no other advice than to simply ask the pair to just walk away from trying to fix their seemingly irreparable relationship. Teresa has appeared on Rhobh since its inception, where she was joined in Season 3 by her sister-in-law, Melissa. On air, the fighting between the two families began almost immediately. Though once close, Caroline also found herself feuding with Teresa once Melissa joined the cast, as Caroline formed a friendship with Melissa despite Teresa's interjections. Recently interviewed on the Behind the Velvet Rope podcast, Caroline spoke out on the ever-strained relationship between Teresa and Melissa. As for what Caroline thinks is the best next move, she stated, "Sometimes you just need to walk away to save the situation." Delving into this concept, Caroline added, "Some things cannot be fixed, right? So you can try, and if they don't want to be fixed, they're not going to be fixed." As for what to do after walking away for a beat, Caroline suggested that Teresa and Melissa can maybe come back to the table later, when each are a little older and a little more mature. Though Caroline and Teresa filmed a Super Bowl ad that poked fun of their feud, their current-day relationship has yet to rebuild. However, Caroline offered a positive update on where she now stands with Melissa and her husband, Joe Gorga. "We don't hang in the same circles," Caroline began, explaining by saying, "I'm a lot older." Despite this age gap and differing friends groups, Caroline happily said, "When I see them, it's like I've never lost an hour of time with them. We just go right back to where we were." Giving an example, Caroline adds, "We saw them at BravoCon. We had a great time." During Rhobh Seasons 1 and 2, Teresa and Caroline's friendship was a riot to behold. With both women having a strong sense of family and a love for Italian cooking and wine, paired with Caroline's wit and Teresa's once light-hearted way of looking at things, the pair seemed destined to remain tightly knit forever. However, Teresa made serious allegations against Caroline, accusing her of being a snitch by contacting the IRS on Teresa's then-husband, Joe Giudice. While Teresa and Joe both served prison time for tax evasion, Caroline vehemently denied she was involved. Until the truth is made clear, the pair will likely remain at odds. Caroline's words match what many viewers feel. After watching Teresa and Melissa feud for the past 10 seasons, the storylines for these ladies has grown stale. Now, as their children age, they too have become involved in the drama, making scenes almost unbearable to watch, as adults fighting with teenagers is not ideal for escapism television. The only solution moving forward is for one of these families to take a step back from filming, or one side will have to truly be the bigger person and set aside all arguments, for the sake of the family and for the future success of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. In a candid moment that only a real housewife could deliver with clarity, Rhobh alum Caroline Manzo sat down this week to address the feud that has dominated Bravo headlines for over a decade: Teresa Giudice versus Melissa Gorga. With a calm demeanor and a signature no-nonsense attitude, Caroline offered her long-awaited take on the battle that's left families fractured, alliances shattered, and fans wondering, can it ever truly be resolved? Her answer? A simple yet profound phrase: just walk away. Caroline Manzo, the matriarchal voice of reason who left The Real Housewives of New Jersey in 2014, has often chosen to remain silent on the ongoing drama that's played out season after season between Teresa and Melissa. But with the most recent reunion exploding into a flurry of accusations, tears, and broken bonds, she felt compelled to speak up. Sitting in her Franklin Lakes kitchen, sipping espresso and framed by the understated elegance that made Manzo'd with children a warm contrast to Rhobh's chaos, Caroline finally broke her silence. "I've watched them go in circles for over 10 years, she said, gently shaking her head. "And I say this with all the love in the world. Sometimes, healing only comes when you stop trying to win. The Giudice-Gorga feud began innocently enough: family misunderstandings, passive-aggressive comments, and the kind of competition that often brews in close-knit Italian-American families. But over the years, as Teresa navigated her legal troubles, Melissa climbed the Bravo ladder, and their husbands Joe Giudice and Joe Gorga waged their own war. The cracks deepened. Accusations of betrayal, jealousy, backstabbing, and betrayal became their storyline, and, tragically, their real life. Caroline, who famously clashed with Teresa herself, knows firsthand how deep those wounds can go. Teresa once said, "I was the cause of all her problems," Caroline said, recalling the infamous Season 4 prophecy Teresa made about her going to jail, only to end up in federal prison herself. "And that taught me something. People see what they want to see. They believe what fits their narrative." So, when asked if Teresa and Melissa could ever reconcile, Caroline didn't sugarcoat it. "No," she said plainly, "not unless they both give up needing to be right." To fans of Rhonj, Caroline's words may sound like surrender, but in reality, they're a call for peace. Her message isn't about choosing sides, it's about letting go. "I don't think either of them are bad people," she explained. "They're just hurt. And when you live in hurt for that long, it changes how you see everything. It becomes your identity. I think they both need to grieve the relationship they wanted to have and accept the one they actually have." She paused, then added, "And that means sometimes you just walk away." It's advice that feels both heartbreaking and healing. Caroline isn't telling them to burn bridges, but to stop standing on them while the fire rages underneath. Caroline's take comes at a pivotal time. Season 14 of The Real Housewives of New Jersey has left cast members and fans alike wondering if the franchise can survive its own toxicity. With Teresa refusing to film with Melissa and the cast splitting into rival camps, the show feels less like a drama and more like a war zone. "People say Rhonj isn't fun anymore," Caroline noted. "And they're right, because it's no longer about family dinners and over-the-top christenings. It's about emotional warfare, the kind you don't come back from." But would Caroline ever return to Rhonj to be a voice of reason again? She smiled. "I'd come back to close the book, not reopen it," she said. "There's power in resolution, but that doesn't always mean everyone hugging at the end. Sometimes resolution is saying, 'I love you, but this isn't good for me anymore,' and that's okay." She also had words for fans who still hope for a dramatic Teresa-Melissa makeup moment, like the early seasons when apologies, however temporary, were still possible. "I get it. People love a good redemption arc," Caroline said. "But you can't force peace between people who don't trust each other. And at this point, there's too much water under the bridge. Too many reunions, too many backhanded interviews, too many years." Still, she acknowledged the pain that comes with such family fractures. Nobody wants to admit that their family is broken. You keep hoping the next Christmas, the next baby, the next funeral will be the one that brings you back together. But time doesn't heal unless you let it. For longtime fans, Caroline's reflections feel like a bittersweet closure. In a way, she's the last tether to the Rhonj era that balanced chaos with real heart. The Sunday dinners, the sibling spats that ended in wine toasts, the shared history. But for Teresa and Melissa, the past may be the only thing they share now. "I think they both tried," Caroline offered, "in their own ways. But it's time to stop trying to fix what's already been broken too many times." Then, as if summarizing the entire Rhonj saga in a single sigh, she concluded, "Just walk away, love each other from a distance, and live your lives." The simplicity of her statement echoed like a final chapter, not dramatic, not Bravo-style explosive, but real. As for what comes next, Caroline hopes the franchise and the family can find a new rhythm, even if it's not together. "We don't always get the endings we want," she said, "but we can choose how we move forward. And sometimes, the healthiest thing you can do is let go. Caroline Manzo may not be holding a Bravo peach anymore, but she's holding wisdom, hard-earned, unscripted, and surprisingly soft in a world that thrives on chaos. And in a franchise built on confrontation, her message lands with unexpected grace. Not every feud gets a fairy tale ending, but maybe, just maybe, walking away is the beginning of something better.